Have you ever been to prom or a big fancy event like a wedding? Then you can probably remember how you felt. Excited, but also a bit nervous or anxious. Maybe you felt a little uncomfortable in your new fancy clothes. It's helpful to remember that our honored guests will probably have a lot of those same feelings. Our nervous system can be on heightened alert when we are anxious, scared, or overstimulated. Some people have difficulty regulating their nervous systems, so unfamiliar places and big events can make sensory regulation even more difficult. That's why there will be a calm space or a sensory room at every Night to Shine location. A calming space like the sensory room gives our nervous system a chance to regulate so we can get back out on the dance floor. So, you may be asking yourself, how do I know if someone is getting overstimulated or if their nervous system is dysregulated? When should we use the calm space or the sensory room? Well, here are some things to look for. Watch for someone covering their ears or eyes. If an honored guest looks uncomfortable because of too much sensory input, offer noise-reducing headphones, sunglasses, or even a hat to shield their ears and eyes. You can also offer to go with them to the calm space or sensory room to get a break from the crowd, noise, and lights. Take notice of sudden change in mood or behavior for no apparent reason. For example, they may suddenly get very quiet and tired, or they may get very hyper, talkative, and loud. Also look for quick, shallow breathing, like hyperventilating, or if someone is suddenly sweating, hot, flushed, or red in the face for no apparent reason. Of course, you don't have to worry too much if it's just a case of the disco fever. Also, notice if they are distressed by being touched, accidentally bumped, or feeling crowded by people. Pay attention to indications or mentions of physical discomfort, like a stomach ache, nausea, complaints that their ears hurt, or a headache. Definitely get away from the crowds, music, and lights if someone is trembling, shaking, or their heart is racing, or if they suddenly get tense and stiff and panicky, anxious, scared, or have wide eyes. These are all indications that they may need the calm space or sensory room. You may be wondering what causes this. When our nervous system gets overloaded, it affects our whole body. It starts in our brain when we get too much sensory information coming in, and the brain perceives that information as a threat. So our brain prepares our body for survival mode, which is also called fight, flight, or freeze. This is a neurological response and not a behavior. The person can't help it. This is why we need to help our honored guests get away from the overload of sensory input and go to a calm, quiet place to rest and calm their nervous system. If you see any of the signs of sensory overload I just mentioned, offer to escort your honored guest to the calm space or sensory room to get some relief. Here are some ideas of how to transition to the calm space or sensory room. Describe the calm space or sensory room and suggest going there in a set amount of time. You could say something like, "The calm space is really comfortable and cozy. We can go check it out after this song." Or you can use a social story. For example, the calm space or sensory room is for relaxing and resting. It has comfy couches and chairs. It is a nice, quiet place. We can play a game or use the fidgets. We can take a break there. Or maybe you can suggest making a delivery to the calm space or sensory room. For example, "Can you help me take these cold drinks to the calm space?" Now, here are some ideas of what to do in the calm space or sensory room. Rest and relax. Have a cold drink. Get comfortable. Your guests may want to unbutton their collar, take off their tie, loosen a belt, or take off their shoes. Allow honored guests to talk, but limit your talking. Quiet is calming. If you do talk, use a soft, slow voice. Show guests around the room and encourage them to choose something to help them relax, such as headphones, a fidget, a weighted item, or something to cool down. If you like, model putting a cold pack on your own face, neck, or chest and encourage your guests to try it with you. Join guests in a quiet game or activity of their choice. Model slow, deep breathing, such as this squeeze and breathe technique, and encourage our honored guests to try it with you. Slowly squeeze each finger and thumb while taking a long, slow, deep breath with each squeeze, like this. Try a grounding technique. Grounding can help relieve anxiety, racing thoughts, or help a person feel more in the present if they feel disconnected or dissociated. Practice grounding by asking guests to think about 3 different things that they can see, hear, and feel. For example, what are 3 things you see? I see a game and a pretty picture and a cute stuffed animal. What are 3 things you hear? I hear soft music, someone breathing, and a clock ticking. What are 3 things you feel? I feel a cozy blanket, a squishy fidget, and a fluffy rug. The calm space or sensory room is great for getting regulated, but of course we want to be a part of the party as much as possible. So here are 4 ways to help prevent sensory overload and stay regulated so our honored guest doesn't miss a moment of the fun. Here are some things you can do while you're out on the dance floor to stay regulated. Number 1, watch for sensory overload and reduce sensory input as needed. Remember to pay attention if your honored guests cover their ears or eyes or complain of the noise, lights, or feeling crowded. Offer noise-reducing headphones, sunglasses, or a hat to shield their ears and eyes. You can also offer to go with them to the calm space or sensory room if needed. Number 2, try some heavy pressure. Remember, heavy pressure helps regulate the nervous system. Dancing, jumping, clapping, and stomping can be regulating. So these are great things to do on the dance floor. You can also show them easy ways to get heavy pressure. Have them press down on their heads for 10 slow counts. They can give themselves a big hug, or press their hands together like this really hard, or push on a wall. Number 3, try some slow, deep breathing. Show them how to blow on their thumb like this. If you have them available, blow a pinwheel, a party blower, bubbles, or do the squeeze and breathe strategy together. Number 4, cold and ice is also calming. Get an ice cold drink, eat cold foods, or hold and play with ice. Most of all, enjoy a tremendous evening together. Get to know your honored guests and try to put yourself in their dancing shoes for a moment. Empathize, be aware of their needs, and have a fantastic night together.